Hi everybody, welcome to Beyond the Lines. My name is Sarah, I'm the artist behind Pinselgeschichten, and today I'm going to work in this coloring book here, and I'm gonna start a new color sub-series that I'm going to talk about and talk about how I like to combine certain colors and what I like to do with certain tones. So today I'm going to start the pinks and purples. In this book I'm going to have this page done, this here. This is done with Copic markers, and I'm gonna talk to you about how I like to use warm and cold tones and how I like to play with them, and what my thought process there is when it comes to, okay, what color exactly am I gonna use? And here we go. Here we go. I have taken all of my pinks and purples. This looks kind of not pink, but it says pinkish white, so I'm leaving it in here. I do have some very subtle tones, I do have some very strong tones. I have more pinks than purples. So there are two purples here, and there's a very light one from the style markers. All the others are the Copics. Now I'm going to work on this page. Not the left one, the right one only, because as you can see here, there's a marker. So on the back of this page is actually a page that I want to work on later in this show, in this series, with another color. So first, looking at this, I'm going to think about, okay, what do I see? Where is the light coming from? What do I want to accomplish? Now, the first thing, I see flowers. Some of them have lines in there, so I suppose they're shaded at these parts and they're darker. I also have some leaves in here. And that would lead me to, okay, to first question, which part do I want to have purple? And which part do I want to have pink? And I think the leaves here, I want to have them purple, and the flowers, I want to work with the pinks. Now I'm having the purples here. It says this is a pale lilac, so that would actually be a purple tone. Cool gray, they're all more in the pinkies, so I'm going to put them aside. I'm going to take these four and think, do I want more cold colors or warm colors? Looking at the pinks where I have more warm ones than cold ones, I would say I'm taking the cool tones for the leaves. So I would put away the pale lilac. I would probably not use that, but I need a sheet of paper to put one here where I can test colors. So next to me I have a test page to see, because I have two purples. This is a cold one. That would fit very well, and this one is a warm one. Okay, so I'm going to take, whoops, first I'm going to throw everything away, because that is what you do to get started. I'm going to take these two colors. So you can see here, the upper one is this one, the other one is the other purple that I didn't choose, and there's the light next to it, so that they fit nicely together. I'm going to use that combination on all of the leaves, starting off with the light color. Now, Copic markers are alcohol markers, as are the style markers, the one that I'm using currently. And that means they definitely go through the paper, unless you have render paper, and that is very special one that, to my knowledge, does not come in coloring books yet. So I don't suppose that you have a coloring book where it doesn't go through, so just be aware. If you have one-sided coloring books, that's totally fine. If you work on something other than a coloring book and you want to use alcohol markers and really work nicely with them, there's marker paper that you could use that actually plays towards the blending mechanism, that the markers blend even better on marker paper. So just saying, and they go through, but since you usually don't have drawings or paintings double-sided when you make something, I suppose it is not a problem that the markers go through. So I'm just gonna go around, find all of the leaves and give them a light purple tone, like a full base layer. Also, where I do have white parts in those twigs here, also giving it a little bit of the lilac, just a bit. Or what is it called? I think it is dark violet light. Sorry, it's not the lilac. I did put aside the lilac. So just finding them. Are there anywhere any others? Don't think so. I don't see them. So now I'm going to take the brush tip of the dark one, and I'm just gonna feather in a bit, just a little bit at the base of the leaf. Not all of them too, but where I think it will benefit the whole composition, where I need something a bit darker maybe, just to convey a bit of depth, perspective, distance, all of these big words that we try to have correctly in our artwork. And I'm going around it, the whole page. This is actually quite juicy. Both of the markers are very juicy, so I don't think that I will have anything dry out before I can get to the blending part. Oh, there's another one. You need a bit of dark, and you need a bit of dark, and you too. And now I'm going back to the first marker and fill in part that I missed, and I'm going over the dark, blending it out into the light purple. It will take a minute to blend, especially on this paper, but it is enough for me. I'm having quite a bit of line work here, so I can disguise any not perfectly blended parts of those leaves. And again, I don't mind them being a bit splotchy or maybe not perfectly blended, as there is so much line work here. This looks kind of squiggly and illustration-y anyways, so there's not a lot that I would say would really make this look weird. It already is so busy that it doesn't matter to me. So now the blossoms. I actually need quite a bit of contrast, and I think I'm going to use the same dark purple that I used on those leaves for the middle section of those flower buds, just to not have everything pink, but some very dark parts here. And I think another thing that I'm gonna do is have the background completely black, and then have those tiny little dots here white with a gel pen in the end. So black technically is not a color, so I don't count it when I say I'm only using purples and pinks, because white and black are non-colors. So they are always a given to be available when I use those monochromatic kind of drawings or colorings to tell you something about colors. So this is the first video of the subsection pinks and purples. Now these colors are what I personally would classify as fashion colors, meaning, yes, of course we find them in nature and everything, but I think the first time that in our lives we experience something with pink or purple is, well, if you're a girl and your parents clothe you traditionally when you're a kid, well, you're probably gonna have some pink color somewhere in your clothing, I assume. That, well, it's not a bad thing, don't get me wrong. I really like that, but that in my mind made it, okay, this is a fashion color. This is not one of the colors that I would say I would associate with nature. Though it definitely is a color that we see in nature, but I don't associate it with that. So here are the tones that I'm not gonna use. These are too skin tony for me, these three. I'm not gonna use them. They are nice colors, but I'm not going to use them. These are pretty much so close together in color, so that's a pale grape and a pale pink. And they're very close with this one here, which again is, it's a double of this one. It's a pale grape. So I'm not gonna use the second pale grape, and I'm not gonna use the pale pink. And this one is too neon for me, so I'm not going to use the shock pink. I don't want to shock you or those flowers. So, whoops. That leaves me with a rose red, a pale lilac, a dark pink, and a pale grape. Now I'm going to go around, and these dark ones, the two darker tones, I'm going to choose all of the parts that have these lines in there, and I'm going to start with the rose red and then shade with the dark pink. And that, I think, will make for quite a nice contrast. I'm also going over those white dots, and I forgot to paint a bud there, a midsection of the flower. So let's do that now. There we go. I'm going to go over those white bubbles here. I can always get them back with the white gel pen later. And I will use the pale lilac to blend. It's almost a gray. Don't like that. Sorry. I'm gonna put... No, that is pale lilac. Pale grape. I don't like the pale grape. Let's go for pale lilac. Maybe a bit too purple. Maybe I have to go to the skin tones, which I don't favor as much, but there's a blush color. Yeah, that has more of a pink tone. Okay. Maybe a pale pink. This is inconvenient. What are you? Pale pink is on the test paper. Yep, definitely pale pink it is. The other one is too yellow. This is pale pink. This is blush. I don't like blush on colors, on flowers. So again, dark colors. So the rose red. I'm going for the shadowy bits. Solid layer over the lined parts of the flower. Also here, shade out with the darker pink from the midsection. And bring in the pale pink for the rest. Now I'm taking the rose red to feather in some shadows here. Just some more color. A little bit, but I'm taking... I look to not have too much of the rose red in these very pale blossoms. I could actually do this the other way around too and just give the non-line work for the non-striped blossoms. Solid layer of the pale pink. And just go around finding the spots that I need light and then the ones that I need dark. And I'm gonna finish that up and have that in time lapse because it's pretty much the same thing that I'm doing here right now, just finding all of the petals that have no stripes on them and give them a whole solid layer of was it pale pink. All right, now that I have that done, going into the rose with the rose red, just into the flowers that only have the pale pink. There are some that have petals that are not colored yet. I'm not gonna go to those flowers. I just wanted a little bit of contrast here on those ones that are only pale pink. So what is very important with the way you choose colors, especially when you have so all this mix. Here's another one. When you have only very few colors that you're using, is thinking about what do you want to say through the color of your painting. So it's not always, but very often it's very good to have warm and cold colors mixed to have a nice contrast and to just have things feel natural. It actually looks way more realistic to the eye if you have a mixture of cold and warm colors. Now there's certain times where you maybe just want warm colors or just cold colors because you want to maybe place your piece of art into a certain era. So I'm thinking 70s, the orange, brown, and olive green, turquoise, they're all warm tones that were mainly used. The brown, if it was used, was maybe a bit more on the cooler part of the spectrum. But say you use something for a pattern, and that is turquoise, olive green, and orange. It's only warm colors, but what you want to say then is, oh, 70s style. So you want to convey a time frame. You want to lay down a time frame where your piece is set. And then you maybe do not want to use cold colors. But anything in nature actually has a combination of both in them, a warm and a cold. It might be that one, or very often one shade or one tone is overpowering the other. So let's say flowers. You have like a full pink, white striped flower. The balcony flowers, I don't know the names, but they do have a bud in the middle. That is a warm color. The petals are more like a fuchsia, so cold color, but the bud in the middle is a warm color, for example. Or like I do have here, I have the warm colors on the petals, and I do have the cold color in the middle. Do have the contrast there. So before you choose colors wildly, I mean, you could do that too, don't get me wrong. I'm not saying this is the only way to color. It's definitely not. You can also just color or use colors intuitively, and that's totally fine too. But if you want to convey something very specific, or if you feel your choice of colors is off a bit, there's some things that might be helpful to you to ask yourself before you choose what exact color you're going to use, and that is, what emotion do I want to convey? What age? So what time frame? Is it reality? Is it not? Do I want to have cartoony colors, bright colors, or do I want to have realistic colors? So that there you can narrow down your choice of color already. And that makes it easier to find the one green in the 500 greens you have, to find the right one to, fit in your piece of artwork. Now I'm going to find all of the remaining petals, and I'm gonna color them rose red. Then I'm going to shade them in a minute with the, what's it called? Dark pink. But this sounds like the, what do I want to do? Like the questioning yourself. What do I feel like doing, or what do I want to convey? What colors am I gonna choose? What shades, and where to put them? It sounds like a lot of work. Maybe, yeah, in the beginning, but you learn colors and the use of them and where to put them. You learn that rather fast, I think. You might have to think a bit more in the beginning, but over time you will find your favorite color combinations for a specific thing. And I forgot to color that flower there. There's another one. You will find your favorite color combination, for example, for a rainy sky. Or you will find your favorite combination of greens for a tree, for like a tree in summer, like a maple tree or something. you will find your favorite combination to use to have a sunset painted. So the favorite yellow, the favorite orange, the favorite purple, blue, all of that. And if you can't remember them, well, write them down. Write the color combinations you use down, and well, check your notebooks, check your lists. If you are unsure what exact color you used last time for something like that, and you really like that combination and you want to use it again, it's not cheating. Because, well, there's only so many things we all can remember. And, I mean, why not just use lists to your benefit? If you find something super cool and you definitely are happy with the outcome, with the result of your work, and you want to remember that combination because you feel that color combination definitely worked towards you having created something cool and wanting to use it again later. I mean, not everybody can just use colors intuitively, so that's totally fine. I mean, I do have my go-to color combinations, and I don't have to remember them. I don't have to write them down. But sometimes I push myself to not use them and use another color combination that is not feeling right to me when I look at the colors. Like, for example, I had a taco clock recently where I colored in the Jasmine Beckett Griffith in her book. And I had combined a purple and a red, so a warm red, and purples, warm and cold purples, as the colors in a page. This is not a combination I would go to. This is not my, oh yeah, this is definitely gonna work nicely. Would I have gone with one of my favorite combinations? I would have gone with red and green or with purple and green. So I wouldn't have gone with purple and red. But sometimes it's really a good training to combine the colors that maybe are not looking that great intuitively. You shy away and just play with them and try something new and see what you can do with them. I wouldn't do that in your masterpiece though, where you work like for 15, 16, 17 or even more hours on a certain piece. I would do that on a test thing, and I think color books are great for that. They're not just for relaxing, but they're also for playing with color combinations and seeing, okay, how can I achieve something that I want to say in my artwork there. So I'm just starting to shade all of the lined petals and all of the mixed flowers, so where there's lights and darks combined, I'm going to shade those and blend everything out. Here's another one. Yeah. Another combination that I really like, that is one of my go-tos, is a cold green, so a sage green. It's almost a grayish green, a mustard yellow, and a dark indigo. So dark indigo more on the bluer scale than the purple scale, but the purple would also fit. So there's certain color combinations that I really like. They're my go-tos. I don't have to write them down. And then there's some, well, where I might have to remind myself, well, hello, that worked really nicely together, so try it more often. But these are more specific color combinations, like for a certain age, like a certain era, or a certain part of the world, or a certain weather, a certain time of year. So these are very specific. I wouldn't color the sky in, say, I don't know, Cologne in November the same way as I would color a sky in Dallas in November, because they're in totally different parts of the world, and they have very different weather in November. So the one would be gray and rainy, and the other one would be, well, a little sunny with a tiny little bit of clouds. So, you know, there's certain combinations that I just use for very specific paintings or drawings. And then there's the go-tos that I use in pretty much every painting. But these are more like the shading colors, like the dark brown and the dark blue. I really like those two shades. So a cold brown, a Van Dyke, or a walnut brown. I really like to use that as a shading color. And the other one is a dark indigo or a Prussian blue, depending on what I do have. But these are like a cold brown or a warm blue. This is what I like for shading things. So yeah. There was a long monologue. And the same, by the way, also goes for the pinks and purples. Note your favorite combinations. Note what you gravitate towards. Just realize it, remember it. You don't necessarily have to write it down if you don't want to, but at least remember it. Like, I seem to like cold purples more and warm pinks. I don't seem to be drawn to the warm purples and the cold pinks that much. So, yeah, if I have to have one of those days where I have to break out and get away from my coloring patterns or use of color patterns, I just switch things up. I just make myself to use a warm purple and a cold pink, or a cold yellow, a warm red. There's a cold green, blue. I'm gravitating towards the warm blues. Browns, the cold ones. Grays, actually both. I don't gravitate towards anything there. So orange, the warm ones, not the cold ones. So yeah, I can make myself break out of my patterns by just making myself using the other tone of a color. And you just have to be patient when you start out and be very very attentive and see, okay, what did I do here, what did I like to use, why did I like to use it, things like that. And then just note down your favorites, reuse them again and again, and then challenge yourself to use something different. Some different combination of a color. So let me see, I chatted so much. Did I miss anything? Oh yeah, down there. There is a very tiny little petal that also wants to be colored, and this one too, just a little in the shadow. And blend this out. And then I'm going to bring in my black marker. I'm going to color the background. Oh, I just saw there's another full petal that I forgot. That's this one here. Shade. And all right. So I'm going to close my pens here, my markers. I'm going to... Do I want the black? I would actually lose quite a bit of the twigs. So maybe not. Maybe just go in with the white gel pen. See, sometimes you gotta change things. What you thought you would do, look at your creation, your page, and say, nope, I'm not gonna do it. Or sometimes when you say, where it's like the other way around, that where you think, okay, I'm gonna do this, I'm gonna do this, and I'm gonna do this, and then you are looking at your piece and are like, something's missing, something's not popping. Don't be frustrated then, just look at your painting or your drawing and ask yourself, do I have enough contrast? Do I have a highlight, or do I have highlights where they belong? Do I want to enhance contrast? Well then, for coloring pages like this that are very wild, you could just calm down and tone down the busyness, but also enhance the contrast by blacken the background. It makes any color pop and enhance contrast that way. And it also calms things down because you white space doesn't calm down as much as black space. So if I would take the background and have it a solid black, this page would be like this, way less busy looking as it is now. The colors also would pop more, but maybe I don't want that because I would lose too much of the line work. And I don't want to have a white frame around these flowers. This is something where I very rarely compromise and say, okay, I'm going to blacken most of it, but I'm gonna have like a slightly white border around everything. It's like, no. That doesn't do the trick for me. It still looks very busy then and kind of like half finished. Not my jam usually. So let's dot in some more, and I really like those gel pens when they're juicy. Like this one here, you really just have to dot, dot, dot. Don't have to work much, and you have a nice highlight by bringing back the white dots onto the flowers. And it makes it easier when you color the petals, when you know that you don't have to go around these dots here because you want to keep them white. If you have something that goes on top, makes it way easier because then you can just color and dot on top and have your highlights back. It's just way less weird with the line work. So dot, 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 dot. To be careful though that I don't smudge anything because the gel pen stays smudgeable, that's a word, for about 5 or 6 minutes depending on your room temperature. So got that. I need this one here. And this is something that I like to do kind of like as the last step. Put in the highlights with my gel pen or details. That's also the thing that I like to put in.
with my gel pens. So this page here, all in all, is of course more on the warm side of things, because I have more pink than the purple. The purple is on the cool part of the spectrum. But it is a nice little contrast thing to go on. It supports the warm pinks. Do boop, 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 boop. One of those white. I'm enhancing the wildness now, of course, with, oh, I smudged it. Oh no. Let's move to another flower. I enhanced the wildness and the busyness of the page now with my white dots, because I'm adding another layer there that is not blending in with the pink, but it actually stands out as it sits on top. The colors, it sets apart from the petal color. That makes it a bit more busy, but I actually like it. Oh, I forgot to color a leaf there. I'm going to do that in a hot second. Oh, there's another leaf that I forgot. Ha! What did I think? There's one and there's one. Okay. So there's another. Come on. And this flower too, you need some white. And you too. There's another. And this one here as well. Now I think then, oh no, yeah, no, I do have all the flowers then. Yay! Do I have them? Let's give it a check. If I see any ones, ooh, sorry that I did not color. No, but I see a leaf that I'm quickly gonna color there. All right. So that would be it for this page. This is how I like to work with the Copics when I use pinks and purples only. And again, this page is more pink than purple. Next week, I'm gonna try to reverse that, have more of the purple than the pink in the foreground. And next week, I'm going to use Indian ink markers. But yeah, this is the thing that I said earlier, alcohol markers bleed through, but that's fine for me on this particular page because I wouldn't have used that one. But yeah, I hope you enjoyed watching along. If you have any questions or comments, please leave them in the comment section below. Fill it with wonderful words. If you liked this video, give it a thumbs up. And if you're new to the channel, please subscribe and hit that bell button so that you're notified whenever I release a new video. If you want to see the exact numbers of the pens that I used here, they're on my blog. You can find the link to my webpage in the description box below, or you can follow me on Facebook and you can get the direct link to the post for each of the videos. You can get that there. I'm also on other social medias, like for example Twitter and Instagram. If you want to follow me there, just look into the description box. I do have all the links there. I hope you have a great day. Maybe you got some time to color something or think about a new art project, some drawing, some doodling, some painting, something that you like to do, and maybe use a pink and purple color combinations and see what you come up with, what you like. Thank you very much for watching, and I'm gonna see you next Thursday. Bye bye, folks.